Hello, today I'm going to make pepperoni. I'm going to show you how to. It's a pretty simple sausage made of lean beef and some spices and black peppercorns and a little bit of bourbon, which is kind of the best part. Comes out nice, good and hard, good on pizza, good to eat on its own, and about 50,000 times better than the stuff you find in Dominoes. Nice red colour, well cured, well dried. Bloody lovely. Alright, let's crack into it. I'll put this away somewhere. I'm going to put this. I'll put it in the fridge. Ingredients are as follows. I'll also put these in the description, and I should have seen it at the beginning of the video. You can pause it and write it down. Alright, you'll need paprika, cayenne pepper, a little bit of fennel, some Cure 2, which is nitrite and nitrate, a little bit of starter culture, bacterial starter culture, some black peppercorns, some bourbon you like. You need some equipment as well. You will need a mincer, which I have over here, and a sausage stuffer. Now, if you don't have a sausage stuffer, you can't do it. If you don't have a mincer, you can't really do it either. So you kind of need both of those things. A nice big bowl for mixing stuff in. Rightio, let's crack into it. Oh, hold on. You also need meat. In this case, some schnitzel, but any lean beef will do. Rightio. So first of all, we need to weigh our ingredients. 1.7 kilos of beef. Okay, so all the recipes I use and I come up with, I make them all per kilo. Everything is per kilo. So whatever I've written in the description, you just times it by the amount of meat you've got. So in this case, I'm going to times all of the ingredients by 1.7, and that will give me the final result of what I need. All right, let's crack into weighing some stuff out. So first of all, we'll do salt. I like to have it about 2.5 to 3%. Might go 3% today because this stuff looks a little lean. So that'll be 30 grams, 30 times 1.7. My math isn't very good, so I'll get a calculator. 30 times 1.7, 51. 51 grams of salt. And we need some Cure 2. This stops botulism. It's bloody handy for it, and I don't want to get botulism, so I use it. You don't have to use it, but you're going to have to up the salt quite high, getting towards 4 to 5%. It becomes quite salty. So rather than that, I use Cure 2. I know a lot of people don't want to use it. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. According to the instructions, 2.5 grams per kilo. So 2.5 grams times 1.7. Which is 4.25 grams. So 4.5 grams, something like that. 6 grams of cayenne pepper. This doesn't sound a lot, but cayenne pepper is quite hot, so it goes a long way. 8 grams of paprika. It's up to you which paprika you use. I like picante, the hotter one. You can use dulce, the milder, more smoky one if you like. I just prefer, I think pepperoni should be a little bit spicy, so I like picante. This is my favourite type of paprika. Works really well. Oh, often the lid's really hard to get off. And about 6 grams of sugar per kilo. Perfect. That's it for the dry ingredients, I think. Oh no, hold on, I've forgotten one. You need a pinch of very well ground fennel. Fennel seeds. Bashy bashy. Okay, so 1.7 pinches. One. That strikes me as about 0.7, but I don't trust it, so we'll throw a bit more in. Maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, sweet. We'll set those aside, and now we grind the beef. To do that, we're going to use a mincer. Going to use a fairly small plate, not the smallest plate, like a medium plate. Yay big. The reason I don't use the big plate is because, as you can see, it's quite an amalgamated kind of sausage. It's not a coarse sausage, very smooth. And I want it to be like that because there's no fat in there. So you can cut it very thin and it becomes very tasty. Alright. Oh, very tasty. Oh, I like that. Let's go. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's spicy. Okay, I'm going to go set up the mincer. Right, that's that all set up. This is the mother of all mincers, but you don't need one this big. You can buy a really cheap one off Amazon. They're like $10. And it'll do the job fine. Okay, let's grind some beef. Make sure your beef is nice and cold. Okay, off we go. That's pretty much it for the mincing. I'm not going to do any more than that. So really, I mean, you could chop this by hand if you wanted to get it to this fine. Take you a while. Okay, so into this we throw our dried ingredients. We also throw our bacteria in. There are an awful lot of different bacterias out there on the market. I have no idea what this one is. It's a salami one, but really all it does is it makes sure that this bacteria, which is not a bad bacteria, it's a good bacteria, beneficial, is so potent inside it that it outcompetes the bad bacteria, so you get a good healthy sausage. You don't have to use this. If you don't use it, I'll probably up the salt a tiny bit more, and I would probably dry the sausage in a fridge as well, like a cold fridge. You won't get quite the same result, and this stuff is quite cheap and it goes a long way. This little packet does like 100 kilos of sausage. The dosing rate is also quite small, and a lot of it says that I've never had any issues just adding it straight into the meat. Some packets say that you need to dissolve it in water overnight first or something like that, but I just add it straight to the meat. I standardly just use a small teaspoon per kilo. Whether that's right or wrong, it seems to work. One. And a 0.7. At 0.7? Yeah. Okay, into this mix here, we'll now add our whole black peppercorns. The reason I leave them whole is when you slice the salami, or sorry, the pepperoni, you get lovely little rounds of whole black pepper as you slice it. And they're great, they're like little pepper bombs that go off. And the amount of pepper we're going to add is 6 grams per kilo, so 6 times 1.7 is about 10.2 grams if I remember rightly. Okay, now we're going to knead the meat and the dry mixes and the bacteria all together until we develop a bind with the meat where it starts sticking together on its own. And then we know that it's ready for a bit of liquid, and then we carry on doing it until we get a good bind. And once we've got that good bind, it's ready to stuff into some skins. All right. First you want to wash your hands so they're good and clean. This takes quite a bit of time. I'm simply kneading it just like you would bread. And as you can see, it just starts to stick together over time. And we just keep going with that until it really starts to stick together. Okay, that's about it. We've hit what we call primary bind, so you can hold it up and the meat won't fall off. It's all bound together. What that has done is it's broken down all the meat fibres so they're binding together, so the sausage will be good and bound together, which is what you want, you know. So at this stage, after I've mixed all the dry ingredients in, that was about 5-7 minutes, something like that. Takes a while. Till my arms really hurt is how I normally know I've got it right. As I said, as long as the meat doesn't fall off, pretty good. Next thing I add, once I've cleaned my hands, is the bourbon. I like to add about 23 mils per kilo, or 23 grams per kilo. I find it easier just to weigh it in a bowl. But it's very important when you use the bourbon that you drink some. Alright? Just saying. More important than adding it in there, really. Cheers. Yeah, that passes the test. Rightio, 23 grams per kilo. Same thing again. 23 grams per kilo, so 23 times 1.7. That was about 42 grams, but I'll live. It will still appear quite dry. Don't put any more in than this because the alcohol will start to really affect the bacteria. And the same thing again, just really work it in and so you get further bind. That smells awesome. Kind of woody from the bourbon. A little bit of harshness from the alcohol, but that's going to evaporate over time as we dry it over the next month or so. And as I said, good bind. It's not going to come apart. You could pretty much make a sausage out of it now and hang it up and it would just dry in that sausage. We're going to stuff it into cases, make it more uniform and allow it to dry better. Okay, so while we get the cases ready and the sausage stuffer, we'll put this in the fridge. And as always, a quick tidy. Oh yeah. Rightio. We're at the sausage stuffing stage. So I've got a sausage stuffer, just a little one. These are also quite cheap, pick them up pretty easy. If you've got a mincer that also is a sausage stuffer, with this sausage no worries at all because it's got no fat in it. So you can't smear the fat by pushing it through the mincer again. I'm going to be stuffing these into pork skins, pork intestines. I find these best, especially if you're going to smoke the sausage. The smoke takes so much better through it. I use pork middles. I'm using 35s, 35mm ones, so fairly large. They don't really get too much bigger than that. I know you can get 40s and 45s and stuff, but 35 is about it. I do use these up to about doing 4 kilos to process, maybe 5 kilos. After that, it's a bit time consuming. You get through an awful lot of skins. So if I get any bigger than that, I tend to go to the big salami cases, which hold about 1 kilo each. So if you've got a whole silver side, for instance, I'd probably do it in these, and maybe a few in the little ones. These work just as well, really. There's no problem with them. You just have to peel them off before you eat them. Okay. So, skins. Here are some sausage skins. I buy mine vacuum packed and salted. I tend to get out a few lengths and put them in a really strong brine, like a 25 to 30% brine, and they'll keep for 6-8 weeks like that. Without, I've never really had any issues even beyond that, but I would say 6-8 weeks would be safe. Main thing to do is once you've got them, if you're getting them straight out from the salt, then you need to wash them off, put them in some cold water, leave them overnight, and then run them through with some lightly warm water, not hot water, lightly warm water. You don't want to cook them, so just lightly warm water, lukewarm, and wash them through. I tend to do that twice just to make sure there's no salt or any crap left inside there. The ones that I keep in here, once I've taken them out, got them, I just tend to run them through with a bit of lukewarm water and we're good to go. All right, let's do it. All right, one load of sausage skins. These are good, especially like leaving them in the brine because they become very pliable and get them quite big. Hence I can use a nice large stuffing tube. All right. Now our biggest enemy in this whole thing is air. We don't want air inside the sausage. If air gets in the sausage, it gives a place for bacteria to grow. We don't want that. We want it to dry uniformly all the way through and have no air spaces. You can get away with the odd air pocket, but you're trying your best not to. Okay, so the way I do get around this is to throw the first one in, really push it in, and then just keep doing that. And we're going to roll this down until the meat starts to go up the tube. And then we stop and take the pressure off. I don't want meat at the end. And then we're going to load the skins onto the tube. Alright, and then we're going to stuff them. And we're going to stuff them slowly, and we're going to stuff them very, very tight. We don't have to link them, we're just going to make long lengths. So, first thing I do is I tie a quick knot in the end here. Like so. And I use a pin to poke a little hole. That'll let any air out that's going to come out. Okay, and as I said, very full. You want them really, really full. So I'm simply applying pressure with the other hand and stopping the sausage skin coming off of the tube too quickly, so I can really fill up that skin. That's about long enough for one. So now I like to pull off the next length and leave it free, and then start again. Take a pinch so you've got something to push against, get your pin out, quick pop, maybe two, and repeat. Four nice big fat pepperonis. Alright, 4 lovely big fat stuffed pepperonis. You'll tend to find if you use natural skins that they always come out curved. It's just a natural way of things, I suppose. So to tie them up, we've got this long piece of skin in between it. Find the middle, chop it. And then all I do is try to get any air that's around the skin, anywhere around the skin, get rid of that, right up, give it a quick spin, nice and tight down onto the meat, and then tie it in a knot. One. And repeat. So the next one, we simply get all the air out we can. There'll always be a little bit around the skin. Tie it in a knot. Get to the next bit. Now this one I've left a little bit longer, which is good. So I cut it in half again. Same deal. Squeeze as much air out as we can. Bit of a spin. Alright. Tie it in a knot. And get that knot as tight up against the sausage as you can. Skins are very hardy, you can give them a fairly good tug. Now with this end, we can tie this into a further knot, which is and that will give me a hanging loop, which means we don't need string. I like doing it this way. I think they look prettier when they're finished too. Perfect. So all I do now is the ends that haven't got loops on them, I cut those tag ends off. And there we go, first stage finished, the making part done. A lovely sausage. Smells really good, kind of woody and spicy, just as you want it. Now the next stage is the drying stage, well, the fermenting and then the drying stage. So for the next 2 days, I'm going to leave them hang somewhere warm and somewhere humid if I have it. An airing cupboard would be great, somewhere that flies can't get to it. Put a little tray underneath them because they're probably going to drip a little bit. But that will allow the bacteria that we've inoculated into it to proliferate and grow and take hold of all the meat. And you'll tend to find after 2-3 days that you're going to probably notice a little bit of mold maybe grow on it. Maybe not, but after 2 or 3 days it should have fermented or definitely began its fermentation. A fast-acting bacteria would have taken over. If you haven't inoculated your sausage, skip that step entirely and just go to this next bit. So after the 3 days, or 4 days, however long, I've left them up to a week in the airing cupboard, you take them out and you hang them somewhere dark, dry, with a bit of air movement. I have a fridge with a fan in it, which I set to 17 degrees, and I put a couple of bowls of water in there to keep the humidity up, and that works absolutely fine for me. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to dry them until 35% of their weight is gone. You will notice that they will shrivel down. And so this sausage started life in exactly the same way. As you can see, it's a lot smaller. To lose 35% of its weight, you'll probably find that it's going to take somewhere between 21 and 28 days, around a month. And this takes a bit of patience. sometimes it's best just to forget about them a little bit. So what I'll do now is I will weigh each of these and I will put a little label on them. And that label will tell me the start weight, the start date, and my goal weight that I'm trying to aim to get when 35% of the weight is gone. So we'll use this sausage as an example. So this sausage weighs 440 grams. So we simply calculate 440 grams minus 35% equals 286 grams. So we want this sausage to finish at 286 grams. So probably in about 3 weeks I'll go and give it a weigh and see what weight we're at. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. As much as you can keep the door closed and ignore them, the better they'll do. If you find after a couple of weeks that mold, too much mold is growing on them and you're starting to get concerned about it, I would recommend that you get a little bit of your bourbon, put it on a very clean cloth, a brand new cloth, and just wipe them down with this bourbon. Get the mold off, wipe them down with the bourbon, hang them back up, and that should kill off a lot of the mold. It will grow back, but you can knock a lot of it off. And that's simply it. The only other thing that you may need to do, if you do have a few air pockets, this one does here, simply pop them with a pin. But the sausage skin over the next few days is going to contract and tighten over the meat, and it's going to squeeze through osmosis a lot of the air out of the sausage. These skins are slightly porous, the natural skin, so they will let water and air out. You can prick them all the way over if you wish to increase the speed of the drying. I don't do this. I like to leave it do its thing natural. And that's pretty much it. So in 3 weeks time, or 4 weeks time, you will go from this to this. And then you can eat it. Goes pretty good with the bourbon. Have fun. See you later.